Welcome to Unlimited Parenting. This is a podcast where we talk about what it's like to be parents of children with disabilities and or both special health care needs. My name is Allison. With me today is
Melissa.
And what are we talking about, Melissa?
IPUL found it on Facebook.
That's exactly correct.
Sorry.
And IPUL, what did you find on Facebook?
I found 3 common trends that we're going to talk about today.
Already? It's like the beginning of the school year.
Well, it's October.
That's true. That's true.
Which
No, and
sounds
this is
crazy.
good. Actually, you know what? I strike my previous comment. It's good to find the trends now
Okay.
so that we can be supportive,
Yeah.
proactive, not reactive.
We're getting in front of these babies.
Yes, absolutely. 10 out of
For
10.
real, these were trends, and these trends have echoed some of the calls intakes into our office this week as well.
But this is something different because every time we've done this, I've found the questions
Yeah.
and now you found them. And I'm like, ooh, what are the trends?
Oh,
I know, I'm
excited.
excited.
Surprised.
Okay, so I'll let you.
You will let me.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's number
So
one?
number one is, do I need a neuropsych evaluation before I can request special education?
No.
Thank you.
Can we move on now?
I mean, yeah, but we have a lot of questions.
Okay, let's dig in.
So a lot of families are being told that they need a full-on evaluation, diagnoses before
Oh, to meet the first prong.
that first prong, right?
Oh, okay. So just for some backup, let's back up for some level
Beep,
setting.
Beep, beep, beep.
There's 3 prongs to qualify for special education. The first one being, does your child have a diagnosis? That means one of the 14 categories.
Yes.
And I'm not going to make you name them all,
Thank
which I
you,
love
because
to.
Every time you do that,
But for example, one of them is autism,
autism,
developmental delay,
yep,
intellectual disability.
emotional disturbance,
You know-
other health impairment.
A lot of those are teased out through testing.
Absolutely.
Now, I'll just stop. Okay. And the second prong is that there is a functional academic,
Yeah.
something that impedes their learning.
Right.
And the third is that you require specially designed instruction.
That you're needing some modifications, not an accommodation, modification.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
changes to what you learn, not how you learn.
Yeah.
But I guess I understand the confusion because the first prong says that you need to have a disability.
Absolutely.
But it's one that is academic. You don't need a community diagnosis to receive special education services in the school.
Right. Because we need to, right. Because a neuropsych is looking at that full, complex, comprehensive evaluation that you are going to get from a physician is looking for what is a diagnosis. What's going on in your child's brain? How can we provide treatments and right to help with what they're experiencing? But when we do it in the educational setting, we are exactly what you said, their educational need. That's what we are trying to determine is their educational need.
So I'll be honest, when I hear this question, the first thing that I think of is something that we have said on this podcast probably more times than I have fingers. And I have the typical amount of fingers.
She does.
Is a doctor can't write a prescription for an IEP, right? A doctor can't say these accommodations are medically necessary. A doctor can't say X, Y, and Z. And another thing that I know that if you've ever heard me talk on the phone or ever listened to this podcast in the past, you've heard these words come out of my mouth. The systems are cordial and collaborative, but they don't tell each other what to do. So just like a doctor can't write an IEP and say, school, you need to do this, the school can't say, before I give you academic supports, you need to go into the community and get a diagnosis. These systems cannot tell each other what to do.
No. And we have child find, and schools have that child find obligation to identify when a student is struggling and needs that extra support. And that can happen before a true diagnosis takes place. And I think why this has been such a problem is we have wait lists to get these evaluations. And that means...
And everywhere, not just rural Idaho, frontier Idaho, like if I'm reticent to say metropolitan, but like urban Idaho, like
the great state of Ada.
Exactly.
Yeah.
3 years for.
And that's a huge barrier to a student that essentially you are being told you can't get support for 3 years in an educational space because of a lack of diagnosis. What?
Right. And the other thing that immediately jumps to mind is an educational diagnosis of autism. I know, I'm just using autism as an example.
But it's a good one. It's the one that
I think that I see the most.
With a neuropsych evaluation, right?
And okay, let me pause there.
Okay.
I think neuropsych evaluation is becoming this colloquial term.
I was going to talk about that.
Right, that people just use to refer to any kind of assessments.
Exactly. Because I have been asked for a neuropsych assessment on my son. We have never done a full-blown assessment. We don't need to. He has a rare neurological deletion of a chromosome that shows up in various facets. And that's why he's qualified under other health impairment or multiple. That's what it is. He was OHI for a while, but I digress.
You go back and forth. Again,
we do.
But that's proving another point that the meeting the first prong and having that category that you fall into doesn't dictate what supports are provided.
Absolutely.
Because just because you qualify under autism, for example, doesn't mean that you aren't also dyslexic and that you may need those supports as well.
Right. I think this is what I have heard when talking to families, because there's such long wait lists in the community. Now this burden almost is being pushed onto schools to evaluating and the psychiatrists in schools, the counselors in school, they are there to give educational diagnosis, not clinical diagnoses. So even if you were to say get diagnosed with autism at an educational level, it doesn't carry the same weight
in the community.
Yeah,
for sure. And another thing that I think about is I'm worried about the impacts of everyone believing or being told that they need a neuropsych evaluation.
I agree.
For example, in order to assess for autism, you could do, and again, please, I am not a doctor. I am not a physician. I'm not even qualified to give these assessments. But I do have a couple of children who have received them.
Yeah.
So you could get a stats for autism. You could get an ADOS-2. And neither of those are a full battery of neuropsych assessments. So you could get an autism diagnosis without
the full-blown.
But I think another problem is that the institutions, the providers that will deliver these diagnoses also do full neuropsych testing. Or say, we're, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but like we're a facility that provides the full battery of assessments. So people just assume that that's what they're getting, or think that that's what they need to say in order to get the assessments that they need.
It's that buzzword.
Exactly.
You're exactly right.
I think it's becoming a buzzword.
And schools are kind of stuck in the middle, honestly.
Yeah, agreed.
The community isn't doing schools any favors because we have these wait lists and these provider shortages and blah, 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 blah. And so parents are floundering and they're saying, but my child needs support. And we at IPUL have the saying that systems don't wait for our kids to grow up. And so kids are getting lost and kids are getting, not receiving supports. And that's scary for a family.
And we don't want kids to not receive supports because parents think that they need a full neuropsych evaluation in order to receive supports in school. And we don't want the schools to think that parents need that before they can help.
Right. Yeah. So there's just it's
gaps in knowledge somewhere.
Communication. Yeah. A school evaluation is going to say, yes, the student needs specialized instruction, essentially. It's the educational diagnoses. It's the educational need. Whereas that home and community base is saying, why is a child struggling? How can we put these supports? How can we provide these therapeutics to then maybe help them? But yeah.
So if we were to get to the root of it, if you want your child to be assessed for an IEP, the first thing we would say is put it in writing.
Put it in writing.
Put your requests in writing.
And I would say put it in writing and really spell out where your child's struggling.
Yes.
Put it, right? So don't just say, I want you to diagnose him with autism. He is struggling in X, Y, Z.
Yeah, be specific about what supports you want the school to provide, not, my son is autistic. What is your autism curriculum?
Correct. Yeah, because sometimes we get parents that will ask for what services can I get because he has autism? And it's not a menu. It's what he's eligible for. And that's what's found in a...
Now, having said that, there is a service array in the community.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Like Absolutely. If you're talking about, you're looking at Blue Cross and what Blue Cross will provide. If you're looking at the Idaho Behavioral Health Plan and what they will provide, their service array, that doesn't necessarily equate to the school system.
No.
Again, they're cordial and collaborative, but they don't tell each other what to do.
Don't. They really don't. I wish they talked to each other better. They don't. They're never going to. Well, in our lifetime, I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm going to live really long.
Okay.
So I might figure that out.
Haunt me and let me know.
I'm going to be like the chick from Interstellar, the daughter at the end who lives to see Murph. Anyway, sorry.
That's Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about. I love him.
All right. That's him, right?
That's him. Yep. Okay. So we got it.
We got it. I think if I were to say one more thing, I would say a school evaluation answers, does this child need specialized instruction? And the neuropsych evaluation answers, why is this child struggling?
Yeah.
How do we support them? How do we support the family?
Yep.
Get together with your child and family team.
Absolutely.
Okay. I feel like that one's good.
Yeah.
Would you say anything else? Okay.
No, I wouldn't.
What's the second question?
Second question. We're seeing a lot of these. Either my child has an IEP and he got suspended again, or I keep being asked to come pick up my child early. Which we hear that a lot. So I kind of lumped these all in together so that we could talk about that together. Because this comes up a lot. They're always for behaviors. So hey, we're seeing some big behaviors. Can you come pick up Tommy? That happened on Wednesday. Then that happened again on Friday. And then that's happening again on Monday. So,
and those are called what?
Those are called informal removals.
That's right, baby girl.
Yeah. And I would say anytime that is happening, it should be documented. And teams don't always do that. And the reason that we want to document that is because then we start looking for patterns. Right. Yeah.
Because if you've been suspended for 10 or more days, or you are being, your child is being picked up for informal removals, or they've been suspended one day at a time and it turns into a pattern of, you're being sent home for similar behaviors, even though it's not the same every time and it's not 10 days in a row, it's a pattern of behaviors. That can trigger a manifestation determination.
And that meeting is to determine truly, is this behavior a result of the child's disability? And then is some of this a failure on behalf of the IEP and the IEP team to support the child? Do we need to go back to the drawing board?
There's obviously an opportunity somewhere.
Right.
Or do you need to do an FBA, a functional behavioral assessment?
Exactly.
To determine if this is a new behavior, why is it occurring, what supports do we need to put in place? Because the answer cannot be, I need to call Sandra and David to pick up
Chad.
Yeah.
From the Periwinkle School District.
Well, come and get please come and pick up your child, because we don't know what to do.
Right. So
and that's not, sometimes in most cases, that's not on the school. We don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm a paraprofessional. I don't know what to do. And at that point, when everyone's essentially, I see it as the parent of a child who has been in this situation. I see it as the school crying for help.
Yeah.
Please, I don't know what to do. Please come and get your child, because I want him here. I want her here.
Right.
I don't know how to help them. And that's when we need to get the other members of the school team involved. the school psychologist, a counselor, somebody who can help us do a functional behavioral assessment to figure out what need is this behavior trying to meet. Because mom can't meet all needs.
No.
Or dad or whomever the guardian is.
It does, exactly. And that way, this is requesting an FBA helps the team.
Exactly.
It helps the team help the child. And then from a functional behavior assessment, that FBA, then hopefully we get a really good behavior intervention plan that is setting in place some supports so that maybe we don't trigger certain behaviors, right? We're proactive.
Instead of reactive.
Oh my gosh, isn't that what we said we were going to do today is talk about?
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying.
But some of the Facebook posts, there was one that said, Chad's having a bad day. I've been asked to call and come get him 3 times this week. Or that someone was told their daughter was just too upset to finish the day and she was called early to pick. So this is when if you call our office and this is something that you are experiencing or your child is experiencing, we're always going to say, have we done an FBA? When's the latest functional behavior assessment?
And say you've already gone through that step, right? Yeah. And you're like, okay, Melissa, Allison, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. Well, number one, please call, because we can discuss your specific situation in greater detail versus being intentionally vague on a podcast.
Uh-huh.
But another thing that I would say is that if you're in that position, you can also tell your school or remind your school or invite your school to reach out to their SESTA coordinator.
Yes.
That stands for Special Education Technical Assistance.
We are so lucky in Idaho to have that. Other states don't have it.
Oh, for real. Yeah. And I've actually had a parent reach out to me and say, well, my school team says they're going to reach out to something called SESTA. And I'm like, that is actually that is working in your benefit.
Absolutely.
I know in some cases it kind of makes parents feel a little apprehensive, like, oh, my school can't figure it out on their own. They have to reach out to technical assistance. But really, in my opinion, those are the schools that are like, I don't know what to do. I need help. Those are the really supportive schools.
Yes.
Who are like, I've tried everything. Let me get another eye or an ear in on this situation because I don't know what to do. And then again, the more people that reach out to their SESTA coordinators, the more the state is aware of other problems and then can be further helpful.
Right. I mean, how many times have you just stared at the same problem for 15 minutes and you cannot, or for 3 days?
Why are you selling me out like this? Her door is right next to mine, and she's like, the amount of times I've walked by and gone, hello, are you there?
No, but anybody, we do that to ourselves. We get so stubborn, and I mean, I will speak for myself. I'm stubborn,
100%.
And look, because I can figure this out. But bringing in this case, another set of eyes like SESTA is not a bad thing. It's just helping the team out. It's another person to support the team.
It's a show of strength and support, not a sign of weakness. No, I agree completely.
And so just to kind of wrap that up, I would say if a parent calls and these are things that are happening, I would say document everything. So when you're asked to pick up your child, ask the school to document that. You document that, have that in writing.
And it could be something super simple. Like you bring in something already typed up that says, Mom, Allison Hiley was requested to come in and pick up Chad from school due to behaviors. And then someone at the front desk signs, or teacher or anybody.
We got it. And now we have written documentation that on this day you had to come pick up Chad early. And that's data. We're starting to collect data.
And I do not believe, and I stand firm 10 toes down when I say this. I'm all about digits today, fingers, toes. Anyway, sorry. I stand firm when I say that's not adversarial.
No.
And that should not be seen as adversarial. That's not a gotcha on the school. That's you doing your due diligence as an IEP team member, taking your data, or even 504.
Yeah.
It applies in a 504 too.
It really does. No, teams will go, what? But it does. And all of that is data. If we are having to remove a student because of behaviors, we need to document those behaviors so that we're collecting data.
And it could also support your behavioral intervention plan.
1,000%.
Or trigger the ability to receive a behavioral intervention plan.
Right.
And both of those are good options and helpful.
And that's what a FBA does sometimes is say, oh, this student has more eligibility than we previously thought, and we need more behavioral intervention minutes.
100%.
Yeah. We talked about a pattern, so I think are we good there?
Yeah, we don't even need pointers. We have this paper with pointers of things that we don't want to forget to say, and I look down at it and I'm like, oh, we already said all that.
Said it.
We don't even look at us. Look, shoot.
Oh my
shoot.
Okay, so the last question that there was a whole bunch of in the Facebook communities.
By the way, we love this community. Please continue to ask questions.
I do. And I like the anonymous ones lately. There's been so many anonymous.
You know what, though? I encourage that.
I do, too.
I encourage you to post anonymously.
I wholeheartedly agree, because I think we have some lurkers in there from the district. I think that these groups have been really, really thoughtful about trying to really protect family privacy. But at the end of the day, sometimes we have educators that are also parents, and it's hard to remove your educator hat sometimes if you hear something about your district. I don't know.
Also, I think anonymity is important. And I really try not to speak about what I don't know about. And I've never really lived in rural Idaho, so I'm just going to put that out there on the forefront. But from what I hear about rural Idaho is that it's a very small, tight-knit community, and your ability to ask your genuine, honest questions with full anonymity is probably a really good shield sometimes. When you're in very rural, everybody knows everybody. We all see each other at church on Sunday.
Thought about that. I think
so. Post in anonymity so you can really get your full question answered without wondering who saw that or who told. Yeah. I
get that.
I love it.
Cool. There's a lot more of it, and I'm down.
I'm here for it.
Okay. So we are in October, so some state testing has already happened, and I know this might be kind of late to the game to talk about, but there is a lot of discussion about accommodations in state testing. And is that allowed?
Yes.
Yeah, of course it is, but only if
they're already in your IEP.
Yeah. So that is a really good pointer to say to families, dial in your IEP and make sure those.
I see where that gets really hard, because say you've just been found eligible and you maybe don't have everything ironed out, and then testing just starts and you're like, well, this is a child with a known disability. But there's be
some of those logistical. I see that. I could see where that.
And I will also say this, accommodations are also allowed for testing under a 504.
Yes, absolutely.
As long as they are in your 504, which then becomes convoluted because legally a 504 does not have to be in writing. So I guess for the purposes of this conversation, best practice is always to have your 504s in writing. And I think most people do. But for the purposes of this, we'll just assume Chad has an IEP.
Okay. Yes, let's do that.
Okay. So Chad has an IEP. He's about to take state testing. Can he have accommodations?
Yes. As long as they are written in as IEP, and as long as they wouldn't change the measurement of the test. So like reading the reading comprehension passage out loud to a student might validate a reading assessment, if that makes sense. So it's for comprehension.
Okay. So we have to, yes.
Within the limit. Does that make sense?
So there's no blanket, let's say, for example, your example, there's no blanket accommodation. So if your student requires that questions be read out loud to them, that might not be an accommodation that we can honor if the purpose of the test was, can you read these questions out loud?
Exactly.
And you know what? While we're saying that, I think that flows really beautifully into the ISAT alts.
Yeah, exactly.
Where a lot of parents have reached out and said, I just don't feel comfortable with my child taking those ISAT alts for a myriad of reasons, right? Yeah. I've heard all the reasons. And you know what? You're one of the 4 core members of the IEP team. And you are the expert in your own child. And you do what is right. And I don't speak about what I don't know about. I don't have a child who takes ISAT alts. But I do know someone who has a child who may or may not. So I will let them speak.
That would be me. Yeah. And so I agree with you. You are an IEP member and you know your child the best. I know my child the best. I know that he doesn't have testing anxiety. I know that he does qualify to take the ISAT alts. And I I want to give him the honor of being able to take state testing just like his peers. And whether he makes it through one question or 20, he's just doing it. He has that opportunity to do it.
And there's no repercussions.
No.
Right. I think another thing that I want you to speak more about is maybe potentially schools or community members or other parents who think that potentially individuals with disabilities could tank scores.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah. And so when we are on an ISAT alt like that, those scores are looked at completely differently outside of.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
if I'm Chad and I have Angelman syndrome and I am taking the typical ISAT because my mom wants to have high expectations when she doesn't know what to expect.
Right. Good for your mom.
I'm only going to get through 2 or 3 questions. And feasibly, that's not taking.
That's not taking.
That's not taking the school district scores, right?
I mean, it could. So if you had,
but that's one test in a sea of
potentially hundreds of thousands, depending on your size of your district. So if you have a very rural district and you have 4 kids in the 4th grade and one of them is taking not the ISAT alts, but it's
right.
Do you know what I mean? So that could potentially.
Do you know off the top of your head how many students take the ISAT alt?
1 to 3%.
You really knew that?
Really?
I was ready to Google it. God bless, you were so smart.
It cannot be more than 3% of a student body in a district, or they have to. There's a waiver that they have to apply for.
Ladies and gentlemen, the PTI director for Idaho Parents Unlimited. So it's 1 to 3%.
Yeah. And
so that's not
many people.
And we loosely say roughly 40,000 students are on IEPs in the state of Idaho. So 1%.
Right.
So it's not. We're not talking about a wide swath.
No. And that, I won't even say it. I was going to say that 1 to 3% is usually the ones that we talk about are probably those individuals that would need something more formal in place, like guardianship or power of attorney when they go on to be 18 or older. So that's kind of
I guess what I'm hearing you say is that's a good kind of baseline. Is this a student who will potentially need guardianship and adulthood?
Supports, yeah, very.
Then maybe this is a student who could benefit, and that's not the be all end all for everybody. We're not saying that that's the barometer, but that is a good tool that you could use to assess and help you answer that question.
Ding, ding, ding. Yep.
But there's also documents that help answer this, right? Like, doesn't the Idaho Department of Education publish a statewide assessment accessibility guide?
They do. And so that's what I would say to your teams. If you have questions that your teams even can't answer, there's an assessment guide that SESTA has, right?
Oh, not SESTA, girl. SESTA.
These girls, we should have SESTA come talk.
We need to bring SESTA.
That's an idea.
Next time you go to SEEP.
Yeah, I will.
We need to get someone from SESTA in here. Preach. Come talk about how good SESTA is.
Yeah. Where was I? I don't even remember.
I'm so sorry. I interrupted you. We were talking about the statewide assessment accessibility guide. I'm sorry.
So if teams have questions on how to help with accommodations for state testing, there's a whole accessibility guide for teams to work through and with their coordinator if they need it.
I'm going to ask you one more question, and this is not something that we have written down, so she might glare daggers at me.
I'm scared.
Let's say I am...
edit it out if I don't.
That's true. I'll edit it out if you don't know, but I think I'm fairly confident that you do know. I'm a 3rd grader. I just got an IEP. I'm new to all of this. Can you give me some examples of what potential accommodations are used in terms of state testing?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because this is all brand new to me. But I do know that my child struggles with staying on task. Yep. Because again, I'm not going to ask what accommodations are available. I'm going to tell you
what
you're the IEP, you're the other members of the IEP team. I'm going to tell you what my child struggles. Well, okay, I know that my 3rd grader, Chad, he's really struggling with attention. He's not a huge fan of being in a loud classroom. What are some
This
suggestions?
is the most common one.
Really?
The most common one.
Dang, I'm good.
Is that students are separated for their test taking. That they're
Like
quiet,
a small group.
A small group.
Okay.
Like a. I'm going to say computer lab and like completely date myself. Because
God
computer labs
bless.
don't exist anymore.
How old are you?
Pulled out to a separate location to test taking in a quiet environment.
What did you die from on the Oregon Trail?
Dysentery.
Okay,
so
sorry,
that's a
small
super
group.
common one. Small group. You even see ones where if it's not prohibitive to what's being tested, the read aloud option. So sometimes we have to read aloud the text to speech, or vice versa. We have some students that are able to, instead of write, the type, they're able to do a speech to text.
Or still on the iPad, maybe?
I think up until third grade.
Oh, so like an IRI, an Idaho Reading
Yes.
Indicator type of a thing. Those are still on iPads or tablets.
So.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure on the modality of.
I know that my children took them on tablets.
Okay.
Because, because they don't really start working with computers until maybe second or third grade. So you're still just accessing that on a tablet.
Right. So yeah, some of the most common ones that you see in an IEP translate really, really well to state testing too. Now, you're not going to have something like every other problem on a math assignment.
Or
not feasible in this test taking.
You can ask for questions to be reworded. I don't think that's one that can be done either.
And a lot of them are built in really, really well into, and I can speak specifically to the IRI because I've seen that and I've seen how the accommodations work. To where students can, the replay button where they can, even if we have extended time, that's another one that we see a lot. So students are allowed extra time to take tests, and, the IRI, some of these are always timed. We have some students that are given a little bit extra time, and I don't know how that differentiation is made, but teams can make that.
And another thing is, you don't have to know everything.
No.
You don't have to know everything.
And neither does your team. I guess that
because there's always someone to reach out to.
Somebody to support. Yeah. So that's what we found on Facebook, folks.
Thank you so much, everyone out there, for listening in. And know that if you are in Idaho or planning on moving to Idaho and have questions on systems or services for children with disabilities, please consider reaching out to us on our website at IPUL Idaho, that's IPUL Idaho.org, or by calling us at 208-342-5884. Be sure to tune in next time. Until then, this has been Unlimited Parenting.
Thanks for listening.